Replacements is the title of today's third episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch, airing on Disney+. I just gotta say, man, I personally think this episode was really awesome. And that goes for many reasons. You guys know that I love character building in this show. It's something that I highlighted in the first two episodes when I was talking about them. We opened up this episode with our gang after the events of episode 2. A sweet little interaction between Hunter, Omega, and Wrecker. Yes, Hunter displaying that father figure role for both Omega and a bit towards Wrecker as well, hoping to show the Brute how to be a bit more compassionate with the newest member of the team. And of course, you know me, I have to gush about it. Dude, this was an awesome character moment. Literally, it only lasts a few seconds, but like I said, these little things go a long way for me when talking about the show. You don't know how easy it is for so many shows to just skim past these things. They'll lock a character into one character trait and never build on top of that. But no, they're going that extra effort here, even if it's only for a little bit, and it means the world. It adds so much to the show. I swear, if it wasn't in here, the loss would be felt. Wait, what's going on? Oh great, a crash landing. So the Bad Batch is thrown out of hyperspace. Okay, there was this funny little moment at this scene where Wrecker is very terrified of what's going on. He's like, oh, we're gonna die, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. And right next to him, he has Omega, looks over and says, we're gonna be fine. Now, yes, this is a funny little scene. It's very cute, but also, like I said earlier with the character moments, it links back to that. We're seeing a little bit of progression within 2 seconds. That's amazing. Tech makes comment that the firefight with the Regs in the last episode caused the capacitors to get damaged. Luckily, there seems to be a spare on board. Now, when looking for this spare, Omega stumbles across Crosshair's weapon kit, leading to the team finally discussing the shocking turn of events from the end of episode 1, Aftermath. However, there are already pressing matters to take care of, as the team needs to gear their focus on repairing the ship. Let's catch up on Crosshair now, shall we? So, of course, Tarkin is holding him, running tests, up to no good with his villainy and schemes. With the inclusion of Admiral Rampart, within this scene we are introduced to the Empire's first elite squad. Just some pretty spiffy outfits. Back over with the Bad Batch and Omega, wacky antics ensue when observing the ship's damages and whatnot. You know, like a capacitor swiping creature showing up out of nowhere? Yeah, that sounds like a regular Friday morning. Yeah, so the capacitor was taken by an Ordo moon dragon, who commonly feeds off of energy, so of course it wanted the energy that the capacitor was giving off. Hunter, being the brave soldier he is, decides to go after the dragon, and with a little begging, Omega convinces him to let her tag along, which of course leaves the door open for more character building between the two bouncing off of one another. I can't stress enough how much I love this. While the elite squad are being studied on and such, we learn about their motivations and where they land in regards to the Republic's shift to the Galactic Empire. With a few short pieces of dialogue, you can understand their motivation and where they align with the Empire. It's something they could have completely chose to ignore, but the fact that they went that extra mile to explore this conversation adds so much to the world, so much to the characters, and adds so much to the discussion of Star Wars, and I love it. Tarkin assigns the elite squad to attack Saw Gerrera and his people, a task assigned to Clone Force 99 in episode 1 that they obviously failed to complete, doing this to test the waters to see how he'd move forward with his plans. While this takes place, we catch up with Omega and Hunter, a discussion about where his emotions lie towards Crosshair's current state. She gives a few words of encouragement after saying you can't really blame yourself for being mad at him because, you know, the chip, it has a huge influence over the things that he's doing. I don't know, this scene just takes a moment to highlight a lot of the trauma that could come from having a personal connection to someone being corrupted by the events of Order 66. Oh yeah, speaking of Crosshair, he's leading the elite squad on their mission, a bit of a rivalry between members as the importance of clones are taken into question when aligned with elite soldiers. This is a very interesting topic that I didn't know the show was going to explore. I didn't know I wanted to see this discussed, but here we are. They're really not skimming over the transition between eras. We're seeing how we go from Republic to Empire, and I'm here for it. Shortly after, the squad makes their move to attack Saw's people. During this action set piece taking place, the dragon is found and attacks Omega. Oh yeah, it attacks Hunter too, so he's sorta knocked out. At this point, the show has us hopping back and forth between the elite squad's action sequence and everything going on with Hunter, Omega, and the dragon. But that elite fight sequence, oh my god. Yeah, Disney Plus did not hold back. It allowed this action cartoon to get away with some pretty hardcore sequences in terms of action. Yeah, so okay, maybe it's not invincible levels of hardcore, but it does suffice. I mean, hats off to him because man, this hit. Within Crosshair's brutal actions during the battle, his followers on the elite squad question his ideals. What does he really stand for? I mean, he's just killing people left and right instead of bringing them in. The scene really shows just how corrupt the clones have become after the events of Order 66. They're willing to do anything to finish the job by any means necessary. In Crosshair's case, including taking out those you work with. Dude, this makes the clones far scarier and much more tragic when placed into the context of Revenge of the Sith and other tellings of the perspectives of the Order 66 event. Back with Omega, who was chased down by the dragon after Hunter was knocked out. After a nice tracking down of the beast by Omega, she managed to retrieve Hunter's blaster and the part needed to get back to the ship. So a gold star for your girl Omega. So the elite squad returns back to Tarkin, pleased with the word that they made much more progress than the Clone Force 99 ever did in episode 1. With this at play, the relevance of the need of clones are fading away, a fact not taken too lightly by the higher ups at Kamino. I mean, if clones aren't relevant, then their whole existence is kind of pointless? Yeah, so I think it goes without saying we're going to see some crazy stuff going on with clones, whether that's a new version, whatever's to come out of this. I'm super excited to see what's happening. I mean, they didn't just show that scene for no reason. Whatever villainy comes from that'll have to wait another day because we closed this episode out in one of the most wholesome ways ever. Once the ship is repaired, we have the sweetest little scene of our dude Wrecker introducing Omega to her own room on the ship. Can you believe this guy got one of the biggest pieces of character development after only having like 5 minutes of total screen time in the entire episode? Seriously, this dude went from having to be taught how to be compassionate towards Omega in the beginning to gifting her an entire room by the end. That is amazing. What a nice, sweet, wholesome way to end this otherwise intense episode. Walking out of this, I think my favorite character was Wrecker just because of wholesomeness. But overall, man, this is definitely a Crosshair episode. Man, this episode got dark, and might I just say it's easily my favorite of the season thus far. I don't know, maybe the first episode will still unanimously be the fan favorite. Oh no, there was just something about this episode that walked the fine line of action in the first episode and character building in the second episode to culminate in this great episode made just for me, it felt like. I am wrapped in, I am so engaged with this story. I'm still trying to get used to the fact that we are watching a Clone Wars sequel series. I mean, in the same exact art style too, because with Clone Wars we were so used to having arcs and the format of the show was very tailored in that way. But it's like we have this one continuous plot thread moving forward like Rebels with the art style of Clone Wars, and it's really cool. Like I said, I was a little late to knowing that the show was becoming a thing, and once I hopped on board, I was like, yeah, I'll definitely check that out for the action. The action looks like it's going to be a driving force of the series. And after watching episode 1, I was like, yeah, this is definitely proving that to me, but episode 2 and this one really drove home the fact, again, that yes, we will take time with these characters, we will make you like them, we will make you understand them, we will make you hate them in some cases. Even though not too many things went on in this episode per se for the Bad Batch themselves, they sprinkle these little things that show that things are going to get intense. From the little pieces of dialogue showing what state that certain characters are in, to the pieces of brutality within the action sequences, to some nice Easter eggs and lore being infused within the plotline, and just, likable characters all around, it's very difficult for me to not recommend the show to you. I'm telling you, if you have any reservations, throw them out of the window now. Do you miss Star Wars The Clone Wars, huh? Do you even miss Star Wars Rebels? If you do, there's something in here for you to latch onto. Whether you're hesitant about watching the show, whether you've never heard about it at all, whatever the case may be, I recommend you hop on the train now before it gets going and you get left behind 8 seasons down the road. Like I said, man, I miss action cartoons so much, and this show is scratching that itch. And one of my favorite universes ever. They're not just doing a barely passable job, they're doing a good job. And keep in mind, this is only episode 3, so we're only going up from here. If there are any gripes that I had with this episode, it mostly stems from me. Just setting expectations or thinking they would do something in this episode when it was never promised to me. So I can't really knock points for that, but I do want to have a talking point on Echo and Tech. Yeah, they still feel kind of on the back burner. They're just there to fill slots on a team and don't really do much to add to the story. Granted, they're likable characters, but I would like to see, an episode centered on them pretty soon. I'm not writing the show, I haven't seen everything in the full context, maybe there's a reason we haven't gotten an episode centered on them yet. Maybe looking back at all the episodes once they're out, seeing how much they're waiting to bring them to the forefront could end up being a benefit in the end. So like I said, I don't want to knock points for it, it's just a talking point that I wanted to bring up. Not a gripe, just an observation. Maybe we'll get it. That wasn't the job of the first 3 episodes, I understand that. I just wanted to bring it forth. Looking at it, it's not really a gripe, it's just something that I wanted to bring forth. Yeah man, Bad Batch episode 3. They knocked it out of the park in my book as far as I'm concerned. You gotta tell me, what did you think of this episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch? If you could, leave a comment down below of your favorite character, and if you liked the episode, put a yay and explain why you liked it. If you didn't like the episode, put a nay and explain why you didn't like it. Also curious to hear if you guys have any theories on upcoming episodes or character progressions or anything anything like that, I'm all ears. I mean, if someone wants to put a big ol' paragraph after paragraph theory book in the comment section, I will be down there to discuss it with every single person who comments. So feel free to do so. Just leave it there. You know what you should also leave? A like. Oh, and maybe click the subscribe button because I'm going to be reviewing this show every single week. Much like I enjoyed the episode, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is only the beginning, man. I cannot wait to see what's in store. As always, I've been Geekly, and I will catch you in the next episode of Star Wars: The Bad Batch. May the Force be with you.